The ground up, I built it with the intent of bringing my town up. Y'all getting all wound up. Y'all getting up, telling me yeah, it's impossible. I'm looking at it like nah, that's an obstacle, bruh.
I set that goal so high, on the way up, I catch fire. Now aim from above and never look back at where we took off, just light that sky up.
Chris, thanks very much for coming on the show, much appreciated. You're somebody who has deep-rooted experience both in Kenya and in Africa. I've read online that you say Africa is the most vibrant continent in the world. Why is that?
Well, I think I have to say, in fairness, it's the continent I have the most experience of, but it does strike me as a wonderful place to do things right for the last time. There aren't many other places in the world that you can come in and go, hang on a minute, what have we learned, you know, from anywhere else that we can apply here and not have to reinvent the wheel? I think the second thing is the human resource in Africa has tremendous potential. People are well educated, people are disposed to learning, they are entrepreneurial. It's great material to work with. It needs to be directed, it needs to be aligned, and it needs to be involved, because some of the best ideas on this continent now come from this continent.
Why? Kenya's a bit of a special place, isn't it? You know, I've got lots of Kenyan friends, talented, doing very entrepreneurial things. Where do you think that entrepreneurial spirit comes from? Because perhaps nearby in some of the neighbours, people tell me that you don't get the kind of entrepreneurial spirit in Uganda, for example.
Well, Kenya is very lucky because demographically we've had for years pretty much the largest middle class of any African country. So we've got a very solid base from which to build. And the great thing about having a middle class is it produces stability in the country, it promotes the value of education, it promotes a moral dimension, it promotes a work ethic. And Kenyans haven't actually had to struggle, whereas many other countries, they have had to struggle, sometimes for their lives. Equally, Kenya now has been independent since 1963. Whereas if you go further south from here, we have countries that are really only still emerging from a previous period of rule or governance. So Kenya's been properly independent for a long time. Then I think, once you've got that basis, once you're not concentrating on surviving every day, your mind turns to other things, turns to self-realization, it turns to ambition. And that's very much what's happening here. And I've been here now, 23 years, 24 years, and it's blossomed in that time. Make no mistake, Kenya has its issues. Everywhere in the world does. But my goodness, now the development and the energy that's going on here, I'm very impressed.
So take me back 23, 24 years.
Yes.
How did your journey begin?
Cool. Well, I came, as many people do, to Africa for a short period. I came for a 2-year contract. And I left the UK at a time when the UK wasn't in a very good place. It was in another recession. So actually, the idea of sunshine and opportunity appealed. And I got the opportunity to participate in the advertising sector and to take equity in that sector. Right. And then through our international partner, Young and Rubicam, I then grew to run Africa regionally, which was tremendous. So I got to travel. And as well as executing marketing communications on behalf of clients and building brands, it also gave me an opportunity to build an advertising agency network and to train and develop people, which is where my existing business comes from. So it's a combination of understanding brands and understanding the value of people and using brand as a way of unlocking potential inside organizations.
So can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I guess, not to speak on behalf of other people, but when they talk about branding, they think about image, external, advertising. So you think it's people-centric?
Well, I think people's a missing dimension. Yeah. You're right. I mean, a lot of people think that branding is the logo still, and not just in Africa and the world. So, but branding is now becoming a little bit more of a mainstream discipline. in Africa. I mean, in Kenya here, we've had a marketing scene since the early 1970s.
Yeah.
And an advertising scene similarly. So Kenya and Nigeria are at a similar level of development in terms of age, but I think Kenya has produced a much more robust branding and marketing industry than Nigeria has so far. You can spend millions of shillings, or millions of dollars, promoting a brand and an image. But if the people inside the organisation don't know how that relates to their daily work,
Yeah.
then you're missing out on delivery. And a symptom of that might well be you have a successful business, but you have a customer complaints or care centre, with 200 full-time staff. That's a symptom of a business, a branded business, that is failing. Because in a business that has people aligned to the brand, everybody is in the business of customer service.
So everybody understands not necessarily the what's, but the why. Why we do business.
Yeah, I think they should understand the why, the what, and the how. And the how is the behaviours that they need to demonstrate inside the business, in their contact with customers and other stakeholders, that make the brand a reality. There's a wonderful expression, isn't there? Oh, I wish our people would live the brand. Well, yes, well, so do I.
Yeah.
But of course, very few people understand how to make that happen. And you can't make it happen top down. You can't say, this is our vision, mission and values, go away and be transparent. How many times have you seen transparent or innovative in a company's vision and values?
Yeah.
What you have to do is share with your staff the direction, the why we're in business, the what we're here to do, but involve them in designing the how. And in that way, you get an authentic culture, you get an authentic customer experience, and you don't need consultants to drive it. It's something that becomes self-sustainable.
Very interesting. So, you're now, can I describe you as an entrepreneur of sorts?
Yeah, I think you would. I mean, I suppose I've been in corporate life. I was in
Yeah.
corporate life for a long time. First of all in marketing companies and then in the ad industry. And then I set up this business 3 years ago. So yes, I am an entrepreneur. And it's a very different life.
Yeah.
Very much more enjoyable, I have to tell
Really?
you. Yeah. Well, I think if it works, very much more enjoyable. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I think as a startup entrepreneur myself, I'm constantly listening to podcasts about guys who talk about failure, for example. There seems such a stigma attached to failure. I hear that from local entrepreneurs that in Nairobi, it's a bit of a small business community. There's this fear of failure. There's this stigma attached. What do you think of that first and foremost? And secondly, if anybody actually has, life's a lot about storytelling, and
Yes.
we are the stories we tell ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
If anybody is out there struggling with that narrative,
Yep.
what kind of advice do you have for them?
Okay, shall we deal with the failure thing first?
Let's deal with the failure.
Okay,
thing
so,
first.
Forbes will tell us that 8 out of 10 businesses fail.
Right.
It may be higher than that,
Yeah.
because we don't know, do we? We're never here. So the reality is that failure is an endemic feature of entrepreneurialism. And successful entrepreneurs, and the ones we all read about, often have failure as part of their career experience and as part of their dealing with failure as part of their makeup. Because failure isn't an issue if you learn from it and then you move on.